It is mid-April 2024. Time to look at the weekly update on the Albuquerque housing market and what is going on with the homes for sale in Albuquerque. I look at this every week. I don't do a video every week, but I thought this was a good time to just kind of get you up to speed on what is going on with the housing market here in the Albuquerque area. It's Tego Venturi with the Venturi Group, and if you're watching this on YouTube or something, hit a subscribe. I appreciate it, and get the information out to everybody. All right. Housing market tracker. This is actually on our website, so you can go in and dig into this even more if you would like. The first place item I want to look at here is this market action index. This is actually just a formula that looks at buyer demand, seller demand, days on market, all these different metrics that give us an idea how kind of almost like a hotness score in the market. Market action index this week is at 44, which is still considered a seller's market. But you can see it's a far cry from what we had definitely in 2021 and 2022, where it was just off the board, very, very strong seller's market. So there's still activity, depends on the house, depends on the neighborhood, all those caveats I always got to throw in there because it's, of course, not everything is every property, but it kind of gives you an idea of where we're at. It is a steady market, very similar to back to 2019, for example. All right, inventory, number of homes on the market. This is all single-family detached homes in Metro Albuquerque, all 4 counties. And what we see is we're at 1,000, as I can see it, 1,077 homes this week versus 803 last year versus less than 500 in 2022. Yeah, that was a nutty year. But let's go back to 2019. We had 2,000 homes on the market this week that year. So we're still about half of that. And that was considered a little bit more of a normal market, very steady, but that was a low supply. I remember having those conversations back then, like, wow, we have less than 2,000 homes on the market, which is, kind of unusual. I mean, you go back to here, yeah, we did have less than 2,000 there for a little bit in 2019. All right, new listings, homes coming on the market. We saw an uptick this week, not unusual to see more homes coming onto the market. It's not like this huge surge. We could definitely use some more, but there is a steady supply of homes coming on the market. And at the same time, we're seeing a steady supply of homes going off the market. This week, it was a little bit less than a week ago, but we're still seeing steady supply coming on, steady demand coming on, but yet both of them are slower than previous years for sure. So if we look at homes coming off the market, it's about half of what we had in 2019. If we look at homes coming on the market, again, it was about, well, a little, not quite half, but again, a far cry from the type of turnover we had in 2019. All right, prices. Everybody wants to know prices. We're looking at median list price. So this is the middle number of all the homes that are on the market in Albuquerque. And we are up slightly from last year. We're at 446,000 this week versus 437,000 last year. But look at this. We go back to 2019. It was 280,000 was the median list price at that time. I remember sometime early 2020, end of 2019, I was saying, the $200,000 home is going to go away in the Albuquerque area. And that's definitely come to pass. I mean, obviously there's $200,000 homes, but it's very, very slim pickings for sure. Okay, and then median list price, we look at what's median list price of all homes. This is a good indicator of overall price appreciation or depreciation, as the case may be. But in this case, we're at 219 per square foot for the homes that are on the market right now. That's versus the 210 last year. So what is that? About 5% higher than a year ago. I've got some other metrics that I've been looking at, and we're somewhere in that 5 to 7% home price appreciation, depending on how you look at it. I've got another chart I'm going to put out later that shows that a little more clearly. All right. And then a couple of the things I keep track on is like, okay, well, how are people feeling when they put their home on the market? Median price of new listings. Well, this week people felt pretty good. It was a big number, 409,000 versus last year. And if you look at the graph here, you can see how it has bumped up in the last week. Again, that could be just 1 or 2 really expensive homes that push that number out. So we have to watch it week over the long term to see where it goes. This is one that I like to watch because it gives us a sense of, again, how people are feeling about the market. We're looking at the percentage of homes that have had a price decrease. Similar to median list price, again, gives us a sense of how people are feeling when they put their home on the market. Price decrease gives a sense of how people are feeling about the price that their home is at, how they listed it, and if they have to make a price reduction to get a sale. And what we're seeing here is actually a high, a bump up for this time of year. This is unusually high for this time of year. So what we're seeing is 36% of all the homes that are active on the MLS right now have taken a price reduction. Usually we don't see that until later in early fall, where people start reducing as the market starts to slow down. So something we'll be watching closely. You can see it's just bumped up here in the last few weeks. And if we go back again to 2019, it was 33%. Again, we always use that as our benchmark as the normal year. It was at 33%. It's 36 this year. So it's not a huge difference, but it is something to keep an eye on. Are people, getting ahead of themselves on pricing their homes and now having to take a price reduction to attract the buyer to the home? So we'll be watching that and see where that goes. A couple other things: average days on market, pretty steady, nothing really to speak of there. Days on market is still substantially lower than, again, that 2019 or 2020, where in 2019 it was 120 days of all the homes that were on the market at this time, versus this year it's 80 days. And I'm not sure if I said it or not, but median days on market for all the homes that went under contract this week was 9 days, which means all the homes that went under contract in the last week, half of them sold within 9 days. So there's definitely demand out there, definitely in certain price points. Again, if the home's in great condition and in popular neighborhoods and, price to the market and all that good stuff, there are definitely buyers out there. It's just a matter of if they can make it work, because we know there are affordability challenges when we look at interest rates and, of course, the appreciation we've had over the last couple years. All right. Packed a lot in there. If you got any questions about the real estate market here in Albuquerque, you can reach out to us. We're the Venturi Group at Real Broker, 505-448-8888. Take care.